Here we go. Another day, and just checking the weather. I have noticed that been a bit damp. I don't know what it's like where you live, but I've developed web feet over the last week. A bit of rain on the ground, a bit of rain in the air. So stay inside, stay warm for you mature adults. Weather your way, Pete. How's it going?
Well, we had torrential rain all night, and I
Yeah.
mean torrential rain. Absolutely. Today, we woke up to a pea soup fog,
Oh,
which is just clearing, and we're surrounded by blue skies. So can't complain about that.
yeah. I've moved to
Plants are watered, and
Rotorua.
we're getting a nice day.
And yourself, Frank, you okay there in town?
Yeah, no, we had the same heavy rain all night and woke up this morning and she's a pea super.
And I see you've moved from the Raffles to some distant place that we are many of us are well acquainted with, Pete. What's happening in the background?
Um, what might be a couple of M113s. Remember the old APCs back in from our day?
Yeah.
And one of them's a recovery one that's got a great big winch in the back of it, and it's towing the other one out of trouble somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's
What's that to the left of your head?
to the left of my head.
Is it a tent?
No, that's the 113 being towed.
Oh,
There's two 113s in the picture. One's the recovery one, and you see the other one's got the turret on top.
oh yeah, yeah.
Good camouflage.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into today and Pete, RSA news. What's happening there?
Oh, I just thought it interesting. I got an email yesterday from the RSA, which I assume has gone out to all members, saying that they are looking for board members, recruiting for board members. And I thought, if any of our guys are interested, you do need some skills, either in accountancy or law or governance, those sort of things. I think it's a term of 2 years. It's an unpaid position, but you will have your costs reimbursed. And if you're satisfactory after 2 years, I think they'll sign you on for another three. I think that was the gist of it all. So, ladies and gents,
Oh,
put your hand up
right.
if you're interested. We need good people to run the RSA.
So changes afoot
Changes afoot. Yeah.
because there's a new man in the head shed, isn't there? Reese Jones, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Don't know much about him. So, yeah, no comment on him. But I do think, I know there's still a lot of division in the RSA. It sort of seems to have died down a bit lately. So,
Yeah, bit of heat gone out of it.
yeah, which is good. I think, terrible to see the organisation in that sort of turmoil. It's been around for a long time, well over 100 years. So, yeah,
109, I think.
yeah.
All right.
And Frank,
Yeah.
you're getting into the literary world.
Yes, well, it's amazing what you can pick up when you go to book sales, and I picked up two books that I'm about to read. One on Anzac, What Was It? And another one, The Malayan Emergency, Indonesian Confrontation. So that'll give me something to do in the next couple of weeks while it's raining.
Well, good news. Well, I see that the obviously NZ Defence have been paid because we've packed off 500 troops. I think they're on the Canterbury, aren't they? Heading to exercise Talisman Sabre across the ditch in Aussie. A
Yeah,
collection
yeah.
of 19 nations taking part. So quite a big
Yes, this
get together.
it's an annual exercise because I remember in 1976 we picked up the Royal New Zealand Infantry Regiment in Littleton
Right.
and took them across to Aussie, and they went and played all their war games, and then we went and picked them up again and brought them home. While we went to Noumea for a little bit of rest and recreation. It was interesting in those days because we didn't have bunks or anything on the ship, so they all slept on stretchers or anywhere they could find. And if
Oh,
I remember correctly, 3P mess or three might have been 3M mess, 3P, one of the two. The water tanks overflowed, and most of them were floating. So that was an interesting trip across the Tasman. We
right.
had plenty of fun with all their weapons. We had everything, firing everything. They bought out all their goodies,
Oh, right.
and we spent hours expanding or getting rid of all their ammunition.
Ah.
And we did, in return, we all gave them a tot of rum every day, and that kept them all happy.
Well, that's a bit of history, Frank. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's quite an interesting trip because I got a lot of photographs, and every now and then I put a few up online. And it's amazing all the blokes who were on the ship from the RNZIR.
Mm.
They get quite excited when they see themselves.
The we didn't have the capacity of like Canterbury and what was that other one?
No,
The Upham, Charles Upham,
yeah,
in those days. So
no,
what was the vessel?
there was a Taranaki we took them across on,
Oh God.
Whitby class frigate or Rothsay class frigate, and they just bunked down wherever they could find a place. I remember we had a couple in our forward mess. I was in the forward PO's mess at the time, and we had a couple there, and they bunked down on the floor on the deck. I don't think they left that until we got to Australia. They loved our fridge.
I take it contained alcohol.
Yes, in those days we had our own alcohol supply because we were senior rates, and we had our own rum supplies.
Oh,
Ooh.
gracious.
So that was very good for them. They were quite impressed.
A happy trip.
It was a happy trip. Yes, unfortunately, all that's gone now.
So the other, so that's New Zealand and Australia, our close allies. I think the US is the other big power taking part. But also I see a press cutting from the Canadians. So they've got just authorised spending up to 2% of GDP to meet the NATO standard. And very much like New Zealand, recruitment, significant issue, retention, so a bit of money. I think they're spending $9.3 billion to bring them up to 2% of GDP. They've got one operational submarine. They can 50% of the rest of the naval fleet is maintained and serviceable, and they've got a huge problem with their land transport being a bit outdated and tired now. So it seems like amongst the Western allies, the same problems. There's been significant underinvestment, and with the current unease, shall we say, within the global sphere, the war in Ukraine, bit of focus on what's happening there with Russia, North Korea, bit of interest there, what's happening with China and Taiwan and the greater Pacific area. So the Western allies are busy restocking the cupboards, and I see the UK have authorised the building of more ammunition factories, I think it is, or bomb-making facilities.
Yes.
Another three, they're going to spend £2 billion developing their ability to produce arms. So if we go back a few years, like, around when you were born, Frank, 1939, 1935, somewhere around there, we seem to be living in similar times. There's a lot of changes happening, and certainly the face of warfare is changing as well. Only just, I think it was this morning before coming on air here, I was reading about the Ukraine being the beneficiaries, if you like, or the recipients of Russia's biggest drone campaign. So there's a significant way of changing how war is fought. Maybe the vehicles have changed, but the the underlying philosophy is still the same as bomb the shit out of everybody, but it must be expensive and the return on investment quite low because I think in this morning's post-raid analysis there was only 3 people killed, a few buildings damaged.
Yeah.
God knows what the cost was to send those
400 of them.
yeah, drones all the way across to the Ukraine. So interesting.
It was also interesting to see the NATO chiefs saying that they've all increased their defence spending and they will be ready for Russia by 2030. So that's...
Yeah, well, I think the Canadians originally said 2030, but the new man in the seat in Canada has suggested that they'll be ready by March next year to be able to spend 2%. Although there are other thoughts of 3.5% of GDP as a further increase, and I think he who shall not be named in the US is talking about 5% of GDP.
That's because they probably need to get ready a little bit earlier, because there's a whole new school of thought now that they'll draw up a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. The Russian economy is geared now to a war machine,
Right.
so they will be able to re-equip very quickly, and then do their next bit, which is going to have a go at the West, I figure.
Yeah.
So 2030, that's 5 years away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I could still put my uniform on.
Yeah, well, I notice I'm no longer in the reserve, so I'm pretty right. Although there are some people in the Navy at my age, so there might be a space there for me.
Well,
Frank, there's some in the Navy that are older than you.
Yeah, I know.
I met one a couple of weeks ago.
I know. Yeah, and I've still got my number 1, so I'll be right.
Do they fit though?
No.
The only other 2 bits, I got 2 bits of news. One is the UK has produced their strategic defence review, which is like the New Zealand's defence capability plan, and they had, let me see, five things. So yes, they've identified Russia as a major threat, not the Indo-Pacific as previous governments in the UK have. A more integrated force, so the working together of the 3 branches, and more integrated in the sense of manned and unmanned platforms, I think is the term they used. So that's, and also they've acknowledged in their strategic defence review that the days of a single country taking on another single country, very similar to Germany versus the UK, World War II history, and it's more a unified NATO approach now. So I think that's quite interesting. Also, the same problem as here in New Zealand, the recruitment and retention. So here we've got 3 of the Western forces got a problem with keeping their troops in and recruiting them in the first place. And they're also instituting a system of 12-month commissions. So come in, try it before you buy it, spend 12 months in, and if you like it, you can carry on. Mainly, I think, focused towards the universities. And last but not least, they have decided that defence is a societal issue, not so much a defence problem. So they're trying to engage the rest of the public in what happens in the defence realm. So if you're going to spend taxpayers' dollars, I think that's important, that you get buy-in, that supporting defence is a good thing. What are your thoughts, team?
That's it in a nutshell. The country needs to buy into this, because it's never going to go anywhere unless you get everybody to agree with it.
Yeah,
and you're always going to have pacifists and activists and blah blah blah. But if you look at what happened to the country in the Second World War, the momentum changed so quickly, and it needs to change again now, because we need to start thinking that Putin's bloody serious. He's going to have a go at somebody.
Yeah. Yes, well, he's building troops up on the border of Finland at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, been doing that for a wee while, so the Finns are a bit concerned.
Yep.
And they've gone to have gone to like compulsory military training. People are being
See that?
dragged out of wherever and thrown in a uniform to bolster their defence forces. But I think also I don't know about you, and I'm not bagging young people, but the attitude has changed a bit. Once, I think back in some of the reading, World War One, World War Two, it was the big overseas adventure. We're going off to war, yeah, 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 king and country, yada, 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 and away you went. It's not so much that anymore. A very different perspective. So I don't know how that plays out as far as the recruitment, retention, the willingness of people to sign up to defence. Maybe if it's in the area of working with the drones, a bit like the old the video gamers, that sort of thing, because I understand that's quite a major input into the Ukrainian defence. They've got all these younger people with all these digital skills, and that's how they're utilising their skills, as opposed to boots on the ground. They're working in different situations with these drones and things. Very inventive, using a lot of initiative. So it's a.
I don't think they're recruiting though like they used to, because I see the latest intake into the Navy passed out in the weekend, and or completed their training, and there was only 38 people.
Wow.
38. Now, when I joined, I think we had about 200 and something or other.
Right.
In our intake.
Yep.
So I don't think they're recruiting, because we were used to see the recruiting vans in every town. They'd be parked up along there and there'd be a queue outside.
Yeah.
But you don't see the recruiting vans these days.
No.
You don't see much advertising either.
No.
Right.
No.
But that's all driven by dollars. That could change overnight.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true, Pete. And my last little gem of happiness from the global defence economy, I watched a small clip from an American congresswoman, I think she was, who was identifying that if Putin pulls the intercontinental ballistic missile switch, 26 minutes, and the missiles are landing in the capital of Washington, and they've got it all timed out as to how that happens. There's, I think, 3 different phases, like 6 minutes to get it off the ground, and to notice it by the American missile defense systems. 20 minutes of flight and 100 seconds once it crosses the border to splash down on target. That's from the mainland. But you've also got these submarines cruising around out there. They're loaded as well, so the time frame could be a lot shorter. And if we're thinking of multi-nation capabilities on the Russia-North Korean side, these hypersonic missiles, I don't know what kind of speed they travel at, but be pretty quick from downtown Moscow to downtown London. You won't get time to get out of the toilet before it's landed and causing its damage. So that whole face of the future, strategic warfare, all big change. So very different to our day.
Well, that's really cheered up my Wednesday.
Hey, wake up, smell the flowers, drink the brew. Yes, it's going to be a rough old day.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's all the good news. Don't forget the what's happening. It's the annual general meeting of SEAVA coming up in July, 26th of July, Templeton, RSA, 5 o'clock in the evening. We need some committee members, so people, put your hand up, come along. It's okay if you dwell outside the country or any part of the country. Most of our meetings are conducted by Zoom these days, so it's very rare that we get face-to-face until we go to an AGM. And even then, we run a Zoom component. So have a think. If you think you
Yep.
can contribute, change of direction perhaps for SEAVA for the future. But there you go. Frank, crossing the bar.
Right. Well, I have got two sailors who've crossed the bar. A23713 Pyle, Christopher Michael, Royal New Zealand Navy, crossed the bar unexpectedly on the 6th of June 2025, aged 87 years. And a celebration of Chris's life will be held at the Victorian Room, Cambridge Town Hall, Cambridge, on Thursday, the 12th of June 2025 at 11 a.m., followed by a private cremation. And we have NZ 18239 Mitchell Naira, a weapon mechanic, Royal New Zealand Navy, joined May 1964, crossed the bar on the 5th of June, and a service for Naira was held yesterday. Just
Thanks,
pass
Frank.
on our condolences to family and friends of those two sailors.
Peter.
Yeah, I've got one last post here, and it's SEAL WH, known as Bill, or Sammy was his nickname. November 40768. He was a regular force cadet 1964, which I think is Parkinson class. And he joined, I'm not sure whether he joined RNZ EME first or one RNZIR first, but he went to South Vietnam with one RNZIR and then returned to Warrior Workshops to RNZ EME. So from 1971, that's the only details I've got. But I do actually know Bill well. Him and Margaret, his wife, they lived in or live in Taupo. And he used to come up to our cadet drinks here in Rotorua. So it was always good to see Bill and Margaret. So sorry to see him go, and condolences to Margaret and their family.
Thank you, Peter. And I understand there's a service next week that's being posted on the Southeast Asian Veterans page.
Yeah, it's also on the cadet page.
Is it also? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks, Peter. So, our condolences to families and friends of those who passed. And if you need a hand, we're here to assist whichever way we can with either RSA support or Veterans Affairs. Either contact us or go and see your local RSA, what do they call them? Local support advisor.
Support officers, yeah.
Who will help you through the negotiate the bureaucracies of both of those organisations. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Remember them.
Lest we forget.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Frank. You can continue on about your days, and we'll let you come out of the desert, or rather the tussock-filled country behind you there, Pete. And
we'll keep bailing that poor ship so it can come to the surface.
Yeah, I note that you haven't got your snorkel and mask there, Frank. So you must be above water, just.
Yeah.
Take care. Look after yourselves. Look after your friends, and don't be afraid to get on the phone. Give someone a ring, especially if you feel like you're in need of some support. There's always quite a big veteran community, people that you know. Someone's bound to have an ear and can listen and guide, because that's important. We all need someone to talk to from time to time, help keep us sane and on the right track.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask.
That's it. You only got to ask. Thank you. Thanks, folks, and we'll catch you same time next week.
Bye.